Hello, welcome to this video series on MDX for SQL Developers. I'm Nasir Ali Mirza at DoSQLBI.com. This video series covers the building of the MDX language skills in the SQL Developers. This will be using the familiar SQL concepts as a background to start with and then move gradually towards the advanced topics. Focus of this series is on the MDX language, not OLAP modeling and designing, though good knowledge of MDX would be helpful in modeling and designing as well. All along this video series, you will get to see a lot of SQL and equivalent MDX queries. In this video, we will see the high-level comparison between OLTP and OLAP database. For this, we will be using AdventureWorks DW 2012 sample database. And then we will also see the high-level MDX query structure. I'm opening two instances of the SQL Server Management Studio to connect to the AdventureWorks OLTP database in one and to its OLAP version in another. I'm keeping these two windows side by side for our comparison between the OLTP and OLAP-DB. These two databases can be downloaded from Microsoft Sample Database for free at Codeplex. Let's do some comparison between the two databases, transaction tables and fact tables, lookup tables and dimensions. On the left of my screen, I have a connection open to AdventureWorks DW 2012 OLTP database, and on the right, I have a connection open to AdventureWorks DW 2012 OLAP database. Let's compare some fact tables. I'm going under the tables in the OLTP, and let's see fact internet sales here is under majors internet sales. Fact reseller sales in the OLTP database is reseller sales in the OLAP-DB. Fact sales quota table in the OLTP database is a sales targets major group in the OLAP-DB. Let us see some of the lookup tables from the OLTP database. Dim geography in the OLTP database becomes a geography dimension. Dim employee table in the OLTP database is a employee dimension in the OLAP-DB. On the OLTP side, there is product, product category, and product subcategory. These three tables have been combined together into a product dimension on the OLAP-DB, which is part of the OLAP modeling and designing. Let us compare dim geography table in the OLTP database with the geography dimension in the OLAP-DB. City column here becomes a city attribute in the dimension. English country region name is used here as a country. Postal code column becomes a postal code here. State province name is named as state province. You will see one interesting attribute here which is called as hierarchy on the OLAP side, and you don't see anything equivalent of that in the table in OLTP side. Don't worry about all these terms and what they are used for, what is their purpose. We'll be covering them in detail in the following sessions. All the fact tables in the OLAP-DB are grouped under the majors, and rest is the list of dimensions. You see here something grouped under KPIs. We'll cover them in the later sessions under this series. Now that we had a high level comparative look between OLTP and OLAP database, let us run a sample SQL and MDX query to get a feel of the query level comparison. I am opening the query window on the OLTP side. I have a sample query already written so that you don't have to wait and see me typing all that. This query uses AdventureWorks DW 2012, and the query is simply returning some columns from dim geography table, and the name of the column is English country region name, province name, city, and postal code. Let's run this query. What you see as an output is the region name, province, city, and postal code, and it produces some 655 rows. I'm now going to run an MDX query against the OLAP database. I have already a query that is written for this purpose. I'm copying that query. In this query, which looks like a SQL, but not exactly like that. What this query is, you have a select statement, and we have these curly brackets. We'll be covering all that in the subsequent sessions when we talk about the terminology and the structure of MDX queries. And you see nothing, it's just blank, closing curly bracket and opening curly bracket on axis 0. Then there is comma. Again we have an open curly bracket and closing curly bracket, and something mentioned inside that on axis 1, and from is the cube name, that is AdventureWorks. Inside this what you see is it says geography, dimension, country, children, geography, dimension name and state province, geography, dimension name and city attribute, and geography, dimension and postal code. What is children? What is its purpose? Don't worry about this. We'll be covering that in detail in the subsequent sessions. At this point, I just want to run this query. You see the result here. Again, country name, province name, city name, and the postal code. Now, if I go and see the result set of my OLTP, I have a country name Australia, province name New South Wales, city Alexandria, and postal code 2015. And I see the result set of my MDX queries, again Australia, New South Wales, Alexandria, and 2015 as a postal code. Next, let's take a look at the high level view of the MDX query structure. Not the syntax view, but something to provide the structural understanding of the MDX queries. What you see on the screen right now, let's start from the select part of it. The select statement carries sets. Here you see it says as set 1, which is defined on axis 0, and it can go on till set n. What is set? It starts with a curly bracket and it closes with a curly bracket. A set is a container of one or more tuple or tuple sets. That's how you see here, tuple set or tuple 1, 2, and it goes till n. Each tuple or tuple set can have one or more attributes in that. Each attribute can have some filter. Now, this is the select part of it. In the from, we can have cube or a subquery. Again, in the where clause, I can define one set. The set structure would be again same, which is containing one or more tuple or tuple sets. Then again, each of that would contain one or more attributes. Each attribute can have a filter. So that is select part of it, from part of it, and where part of it. What you see above here, where it says set and a set name, again I am defining a set. These are called as named sets. You can think of it as a view, and then above this you see a member. Again, any existing dimension name you mention, and then the member name. You can think of it as a calculated column, that can be defined as part of an MDX query. It starts with the keyword with. So under that with, you can define attributes or named sets. Then you can make use of these named attributes and sets inside your query. Don't worry if this doesn't make much sense to you at this point. Further sessions in this series will cover all aspects of the MDX query structure. This was just give you a feel of how the MDX query structure looks like. To wrap it up, we had first look at OLAPDB with comparison to OLTP database. We got a feel of MDX query by running a sample query, saw high-level MDX query structure. Next presentation in this series will cover MDX terminology.